Rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
It's another Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Body Garage. Today, we have a very special interactions and discussion because this is something that concerns what we go through every day. Mental health. And you might experience mental health issues in its simplest form to its most severe forms. And that's what we're here to discuss tonight. I'm Dr. Chepsi, your host, and my guest tonight is Dr. Sarah. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ari.
Yes.
It's a pleasure again to be with you this another Thursday. Thank you, Dr. Ari. Yes, sir.
Karibu.
Yes, sir.
It was a pleasure to have you on the previous episode we had.
Yes, sir.
And we're looking forward to another fruitful, enlightening discussion.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Sarah. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, again, introducing yourself in this context now in line with mental health.
Yes. Yeah. So my name, as mentioned, yes, is Dr. Sarah, and I've been in the mental health space for now over 10 years. How I got into the mental health space was I was practicing medicine in the rural areas. So a lot of people then would come and they'd require me not only to speak to them about medical, physical conditions, but also now it became in as mental health. Not that because there was no psychiatrist, but they needed a counselor. So that's why in this portion today, it's not Daktari Mkubwa wa Madawa, ni Daktari counselor. So that's how I get into mental health. And it's such a very profound topic because mental health is the only thing that affects everything in everybody's life. So anything you're going through is going to affect your mental health. And that's why I'm so pleased that we're talking about this wonderful topic that is very near and dear to me, Dr. Ari. Yes, sir.
Wow. You sound very passionate about it.
I'm good to go. Let's help as many people as we can. At least, information, applied information is power. Yes, sir.
That's true. Wow. Now, I grew up in the village, I don't know you, but back then, those days, when you'll hear words like ule wire ya kichwa imekatika.
Yes.
Like there's a wire that has been cut in the brain to mean that his brain is not working well. His mental state is not good.
Yes.
Is it true that mental health is because wire imekatika?
I laugh because a lot of people think that way, and that's why a lot of people disregard Mental Health Day. A lot of people disregard even mental awareness courses and topics and webinars and education opportunities. Mental Health Day deals with two types of mental health challenges. Number one, it's a mental disorders, which DSM-4 categorizes into many. But one of them that is commonly known will be schizophrenia, psychosis, bipolar diseases, personality disorder, narcissistic, as everybody is now calling everybody who is not showing up for responsibilities. And this is when I quickly say, when we talk about myths, remind me we talk about what is narcissistic. Why would people be insisting because a man has dumped you is narcissistic? No, he's taking care of himself. That's not narcissistic, that's selfish, right? But then that's mental disorders. So when you say, waya yako lazima ikuwe imekatika ama mtu ameruka kichwa wase wa madhare, those are the terms for mental disorders. Although again, stigmatization will also work on that. But the other side of Mental Health Day is those simple things that will lead to or bring out mental disorders. The biggest cause of anything that is of worry in the mental health field is anxiety. Now, let me give an example of what anxiety looks like. You don't want to, you're waking up, it's the night before you go to work. It can be Tuesday, it can be Monday. Most people say Monday blues.
Monday.
So let's take a Sunday. Sunday, it's as it gets jioni, the sun looks like it's setting, you're already worried about things, you're trying to fix this, and you're thinking about tomorrow how it will work. You're not able to sleep properly, and then when you're waking up, you really don't want to go to job. Now, in as much as that is called Monday blues, there are people who undergo that every day and think it's normal. The fact that you show up in your place of work or in preparation to coming to work, there's a problem. That's anxiety, and that's part of the reason why awareness for Mental Health Day is increasing, because anxiety is the biggest cause of depression and suicide. How am I going to? I don't like the place I am in. Parents have paid school fees. So when you see us talk about Mental Health Day, we are talking about that anxiety that you think is normal. You ask somebody, how are you? No time to listen, or niko tu sawa. Okay. Ni mashida tu za kawaida. Ladies and gentlemen, daktari, there is no normal shida if it's causing you anxiety. So when we talk about Mental Health Day or mental health, that's what we mean.
So what I'm getting from you is that this include a wide range of issues.
Yes.
It can range from the mildest form to the most serious one.
So I like the way you've said it, because again, that's a myth within the profession. Okay? So in as much as we are taught that things are mild, moderate to severe, so you can be mildly depressed but severely anxious. That causes me to have a problem. So we cannot then blanket to that schizophrenia is the severe form or psychosis is the severe form of, no. They are each on its own. Anxiety runs on its own spectrum. All those run on its own spectrum. So again, anxiety, psychosis is not the worst form of anxiety. You can just be anxious without getting to psychosis. So it doesn't mean that when you get anxiety, you have to get to psychosis. But those things that knock will be depression. And then depression again is divided from mild, moderate to severe. Right? So in mild depression, how do we tackle that? In severe depression, this is when now legally a psychiatrist is now mandated to do quite a lot of things. Because when a person is severely depressed, then there are different things to be done. But now most people want to hear the extreme. Yet, Daktari, for me today, what I want people to be aware is those everyday feelings you have. Ati nasikia tu ni kama kitu itafanyika. That's anxiety. Sijiski kukula nenene. How you respond to being broken up to, or being dumped, or finding out somebody was cheating on you. Those are telltale signs that somewhere later there will be an issue of depression and suicide. Yes, sir.
What causes mental health issues? You've said there are many, right? What causes? Is it your wire kukatika? Is it that people are weak? You see, like maybe you'll hear the older generation, our elders, they will say, during our days, these things you're talking about did not exist. How do you say you're depressed? Or, like our mothers would say, Ati amekuacha. You're feeling depressed because a man has left. Nowadays we didn't have those. What causes these things, these mental health issues?
I think it's the inability of the individual to assess, analyze, and come up with a strategy to successfully get over an issue which they label traumatic. So trauma. So trauma then will be what you carry from. Trauma starts from home. For me, who enjoys psychoanalysis for quite a lot of time, you start from your childhood. The boyfriend you're picking, the work you're picking, the career you're picking, your friends you're picking are determined by what happened to you when you were a child. And a very interesting ancestral causes. So in your lineage, for example, if there is addiction in your grandmother's home, you should be ready and prepared. So don't go to the club thinking you are okay. Izinaweza kukuandama. So again, that's another thing we tell people. Do not dismiss what your family. This is why we tell you, dig into your own family. To also encourage those ones who are getting into relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever they call it these days. We'll encourage people to also dig your opposite partner, your partner, to dig what is happening in his home. Because you give birth to children with issues is and there is a challenge. Now that I've talked about familial, I've talked about generation, I've talked about trauma, but I want to talk about the people who are traumatized and now have children who they are trying to cushion. Life does not happen like that. The reason as to why a lot of people can survive is true. It's because they've been molded and made to be strong in the issues that are there. There are problems that you must pass through. I tell people, if you have never been broke, I don't understand the language that you're talking, so that you're more merciful when people are broke. There are things we must pass through, but you must have the faith to know that I can deal with it. I want to tell people that it is okay that you felt bad, that your mother, father, grandpa, whoever took care of you, abandoned you, didn't take care of you well. It's fine. It has made you resilient. But for us to protect our children from that kind of problem is a cause of mental issue. Because what is wrong with a person deciding they don't want to be with you? It's their choice. Now, for languages of the lower wheat level, people want to be happy. Because I tell people happiness is for toddlers. So again, when you want to be happy and everything has to do with happy, you and I, Daktari, know happiness is based on dopamine, which is the hormone or the ingredient or the agent that people will know for addiction. But we're having people who want to be happy, so they are seeking anything that will make them happy. So Dr. Chebzi is trying very hard to be a good woman. No, you are not making me happy. So again, that happiness and the need for it, you've seen it also. Buy what you want. You've worked hard for it. That is another reason for the problems that we're seeing in terms of mental health. And we're not talking schizophrenia only. Schizophrenia can be manifested by that kind of happiness. But again, the anxiety to depression and suicide is one of the reasons that you work hard not for you to please yourself. You work hard to help your community. For example, last Thursday we talked about sanitation, and I said, Daktari, in this, even if we go delve in and talk about us hoping the government will do, I said, no, let's make it our initiative. You and I get money to help community. And that's the bottom line. The day I want to get married because he'll make me happy. You'll ask women, hey, what do you like about it? He makes me this, he buys me this. Doctor.
Is that wrong?
It is wrong because it's about you. Remember, life is about looking at it at 4D or 3D. Means you're not the main star. And some of the movements in this world put the dopamine up. You and I know dopamine only takes 8 to 10 seconds in the system. But the problem with dopamine is it surges up, it drops down quite fast to demand more. Now the dopamine, we've done the CT scans and the MRIs of people who have that thing of, I want to be happy, I want to be this. They have schema. What do their neurons become? Dark. When you get
let's hold there. We take a break. I mean, we are taking a very. I think I like the approach of mental health we are taking, because we are getting to the baseline of the issues. So let's take a break, and when we're back, we will pick our conversation from there.
Yes.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haiishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni, hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
Welcome back. We are talking about mental health. And Dr. Sarah, please continue. You know, the conversation, I don't want to waste time on inviting people back because this is important.
Yes.
So we are getting to the baseline of where mental health issues are kind of arising.
Yes.
The pursuit of self, kind of, right?
Yes.
But what I'm getting from you is that sometimes it helps to focus on the outside.
Now, let me tell you something very important that I want to emphasize on this program that we're having. It's always best to emphasize on outside. And can I tell you why? I am exceptional and excellent in what I do as we sit here because I want people to see and hear and be aware of the things I'm talking about. So I can't be coming here giving you mediocre stories and it looks like we are doing stories ajaba. What makes me exceptional and excellent, take care of myself, is I want, when I'm speaking to people, I have good examples. For example, if I went through trauma, then I'll tell people, this is what you are going through. I know this face, I know this. Remember I mentioned to you I've been doing counseling since I was very young. I know this thing. I know how to counsel people since young. Those are the things we talk about. We go through life as a vessel that is to help others. That's why sometimes I boldly tell people experience is a teacher for fools. Why would a younger generation, for example, want to pass through the things I'm warning them about? For example, I tell you, daktari, ukitoka hapa uende huko kuna shimo, you're going to fall in there. Dr. Chepsi is like, she must be jealous of me. She's a hater, the enemy of progress. That time I'm okay where I am. I've just seen there's a hole there, and you will fall. Then when you fall there, you go like, I wish somebody had told me. Child of God, you are told. And this is why I said, when you get outside yourself, you have no choice but to improve yourself. The reason as to why, for example, I'm giving an example. The reason why the top 1%, and I'll name just a few, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Oprah, want to live long and be healthy, is so that they can effectively continue what they are propagating and promoting.
Which is doing to other people, not
to themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand?
Sure.
So when we move out of there, we say, my family looks like they don't care me, they're undercutting me, they're rejecting me. What is it in me that there could be rejecting that I need to work to make so that when I present it to them, by less words, maybe more action, they're like, yeah, the person has a point. It's the same thing I tell people about career. When people come for me for career coaching, because I do career coaching, I do school coaching, the high school kids come by my way. There are even doctors who have actually made them leave the medical field. Because I do something which I analyze, personality and psychometrics, which I tell you, based on this analysis, this is where you're likely to flourish. You understand? And the word is likely to flourish. But I've hardly made an error in that because it encompasses you in a very all-wide thing. So back to selfishness. What is another way of being selfish? Is thinking that your parent was not a good parent and you can be better. Daktari, there is no manual for parenting. There is no. Parenting requires a community. We are here now. Where are the children? They are with somebody there. So if we don't have the acumen to understand and know what we want the person to deliver to our child, it's micromanagement. Yes,
trying to start fixing things.
Yeah,
kind of, yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Let's get back to a bit now. We've talked a bit of what could be causing. You talked about the familial, the genetics, and the environment, trauma. Just mention to us a few of the common mental health issues that you see and you help people navigate through.
Yes. So most of the things I then as a counselor will see is anxiety. I'll see depression. I'll see, and then depression, of course, then is identifying whether it's mild, moderate, or severe, because moderate to severe would be then sent to a psychiatrist, right? And then now I'd also take care of people, because what we also see is people who are bipolar. They don't know that they're being erratic. They have the highs and the lows, and then somebody thinks, oh, unakuanga moody. Like, especially husbands may not understand that some of their wives could be bipolar. That's another thing we tend to see. Personality changes, which has brought in the diversity of sexual approach. That is also a personality challenge, where people don't know who they are. Now, let me even give it to you about why personality challenge is such a big deal.
Let's start with that,
yes.
Then we discuss the others.
Do you want me to start on the personality
yes.
one? So personality, what is the most important part, is it determines what you will be, whether it's right for you or wrong. So for example, your personality, you get into an environment where you are laid back and quiet. It's simplified as people will call it introvert, but we in the profession know that introvert is just the bare minimal expression of what an introvert is. So you reach in an environment where you're with extroverts, and this is when I want extroverts, please leave introverts alone. They don't have to be party animals like you. But now you enter in an environment and people who are extroverts start telling you, you need to be out there. So you'll choose even careers, you'll choose even partners and relationships, even jobs and actions to do, how even you spend your money based on the pressure of a personality. So what I'm also telling people is that your personality can change with the environment. So you move from default.
Yeah. So you don't have to be fixated on this is who I am. Yeah. It can change.
Let me tell you this. The word is not fixated. I want you to be aware of who you are. Because I do personality tests. And the personality test is not the, internet. Because somebody will be like, I did a personality test and there's one which is specifically for my profession to do. And I'll be able to guide and speak to you about things. And then you'll be able to see, when it says this, what does it mean? One of the biggest problems is understanding your own personality. So people don't understand, even within a collaborative or a group work, there are those ones who I say, you're a leader, it is true, but you have to understand this personality C and D. How do you effectively become a leader without saying, watoto wa siku hizi wanapenda mchezo? And I speak a lot to the youth, and this is one thing I also share with them. Your personality will either take you where you're meant to be, or how you flow, or it will take you way off to the wrong place, and it will bring you problems with anxiety.
I know there's a lot to talk about personality, but just mention what are some of the common personality types?
Yes. So the broader ones are introvert and extrovert. Then you'll have that they'll either be a judgy personality, a supportive personality. Yes.
Okay.
So imagine there is the collaborative type. There is the one who is the thinking type. Right? So when you hear those things, those are personalities. So let me give you a basic thing about how a judger will look. A judger is the type of person who you bring something and they're like, okay, based on this, I think we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Maybe you're the supportive type who will come and say, no, let's discuss first. You know, when you get to some groups like this, let's discuss, when you're thinking, let's discuss, time is running. You understand? So now you can see how within a group, if people don't understand themselves, how they can feel offended when a personality that is a judger. Most men in marriage can act as judges. Why do I say that? Women, we want, Dr. Chips, unajua leo darling, siku yangu imekuwa hivi. Then you're supposed to be saying, kikweli, njeri alifanya hivyo. But you'll be like, this is the solution. Fanya hivi, siku ingine usichelewe. And she's like, babes. That's a personality type. But when you realize that the judger is not being a terrible person. And men, their personality is tactical. So it doesn't mean he loves me less. The day your husband, boyfriend stops giving you solutions, he has moved on. So then that's what I mean. Understand your personality. In a group of many people, does your low self-esteem make you feel like you want to overperform? Because phlegmatics sometimes can be like that. So again, there's another cluster: choleric, phlegmatic, sanguine, or a melancholy.
So in summary, how do these personality types contribute to mental health issues?
When you are off space, when you don't understand how you are as an individual, even to handle yourself, and then how to be in the environment, they contribute because you're off balance. You feel, the word is, you feel misunderstood. So that being misunderstood, basing and stemming from yourself, will lead to anxiety, will lead to a mental health challenge. Yes, sir.
Wow, great. Let's move on to the, you said personality traits, and then bipolar. Let's talk about the mood
disorders. Yeah. So the biggest mood disorder we have is bipolar. So depression lands under that, but we separate the depression and bipolar for obvious reasons. So bipolar would be, what happens is, take the word bi, meaning two poles, two extremes. So if for example, being very excited and happy is one pole, and being depressed and forlorn in a dark room is the other pole. So that's bipolar. Then there's bipolar 1, 2. I think DSM may have added another one, but the one we have is 1 and 2. So bipolar 1 is the obvious one. Heightened emotions, excited, erratic, shopping spree, whatever. That's bipolar 1.
Let's talk about that. How are these people like? How is this person like?
So they're excitable. When they're in their manic phase, they're excitable. So the people, tufanye project, tufanye hivi, we do this, we pick this, tuende shopping, takupeleka, nini mba unasikia vibaya aje, nitakupatia pesa, send, changamka, tuende, like literally the way I'm just bouncing up and down. That's literally the personality they call when they're in their manic phase. But then a few of them will change. So there are those who will go to the spectrum. You remember I said dark room, isolating, not talking to anyone, crying all the time. That's their depressive phase.
So if it's a family, yes. So you are seeing your spouse is up, yes, one day, yes, then the next day?
No, mostly it's a season. So you'll have to mark and say, January to March ako excitable. January to February ako excitable. March, April, things are changing. They look dull. Oh, mbona maisha yangu iko hivi, blah, blah, blah. So it's that up, down. So they're moving from one extreme pole to another, bipolar. But the type 2 bipolar is the one most people don't realize, because the type 2 bipolar doesn't have that extreme. The type 2 bipolar will become, it's a good day, ukaje ukopoa, nini, tukule lunch, tufanye nini. They are comfortable, but then they get into a depressive phase.
So might not even easily pick it. You
won't pick it until now some trauma happens that will expose that internal bipolar part of them. So the thing about bipolars, sometimes I describe it this way and people say, I think I'm bipolar. I say, calm down. It's inside you internally to decide and this is the thing I want to talk to people about this right now. Stop picking yourself apart. Understand your personality. Because again, I have a friend of mine who jumps up. And then when amemaliza yo pumzi yake imeisha, she goes to a corner and she's quiet. I can't call her bipolar. There are other things I'm looking for. But either way, what we want people to know is that there is a solution. And for me, Dr. Sarah, to talk about it means reach out. Talk to me. We have confidentiality in every way and every corner.
All right, let's take a break. When we're back, we will continue the conversation on bipolar, yes, and depression.
Yes, sir.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni. Hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before. What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience.
Welcome back. You're watching Body Garage, the Art of Wellbeing, and we are talking about mental health. And right now we get back to the conversation about bipolar. Yes. So it talked about the extremes of happy emotions, and then over a certain season again, down to the darkness.
Yes.
And then there was that one who mild,
Yes.
you can't really tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, assume these are a couple. How can these two people live together? Assume the other one doesn't have any mental health concern, but there's one here with bipolar.
So one thing I love about bipolar, and like many other mental disorders, remember I qualified, there's the mental health challenges, which is stress, tension, anxiety, and mild depression. And then there's the disorders, which was now schizophrenia, bipolar, severe suicide, and what we're talking about now, bipolar. They are treatable. So number one, if you know anybody around you who could have that or has that, they make sure that they're taking their medication. It sets them back to normal daktari. So to answer that, it's not that the person will remain bipolar on medication. Wacha niseme tena kwa lugha ya taifa. Mtu ambaye ako na bipolar na anameza madawa zake kila siku, hata kuwa na bipolar tendencies, atarudi kuwa kama mtu wa kawaida. Yes. So I've said that to the people who understand our lingua English, and for those ones in Swahili. Because people ask me, how do they deal with a person with mental illness? As long as they are on medication, they go back to normal. So the signs now I would then advise is watch out for signs of breakthrough. So you'll start seeing their behaviors changing. Take them to the nearest clinic, nearest facility, and say, this person is on XYZ and I've noticed this. For those who are armed with the mental health training, will let you know the next step in which to do. So it's not that when we tell you that you have bipolar or any other mental disease and you're on medication, we leave you that way. The medication should stabilize you. Yes, sir.
As we leave the bipolar, discussion, I remember when I was in primary school, I think later on I realized we used to have a teacher who was bipolar. Because this guy, when he will get paid at the end of the month, he will come and spoil all the students. He will come and buy everybody food and sodas and give money.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he must have been having that problem maybe.
Yes.
Depression.
Yeah.
What is this? Nowadays, that's a point where I ask, older people than me will say, nowadays you people are weak.
Yeah.
A small thing, I am depressed. A small thing, I was depressed. Is it really like that? How bad is this depression?
So one of the things is that the older society is actually tackling our resilience. We've become a feeling nation or a feeling society. Oh, I feel bad. This is, canceling people from saying things that they're supposed to say. I mean, if you have the freedom to have speech, then everybody should. But here is my concern. Our resilience has been attacked by cushioning. So if we are being cushioned for everything that is supposed to be through us, people will say no to your project. KFC went through 1,000 people, the Colonel Sanders, before 1,001 agreed that his chicken was good. Now, can you imagine if it was all about hating and people don't like me and woe is me? That's what they mean. We've lost our resilience. Maybe their wordings may belittle the feeling, but that is exactly why. So teaching people how to deal with situations starts from home. When we shield, like especially my generation, wanted to shield their younger siblings and now their children, we are saying they can't handle trauma. Now, trauma is a very stretchable thing. And quickly, Dr. I don't want anybody to think we're allowing assault. And we are not allowing assault. But what we're saying is that there are things in life you'll pass through. There are no's in life you'll pass through. There will be, it's not illegal to lie to a person. You cannot be arrested at Yalinidanganya. You understand what I'm saying? So those effects of somebody calling you and telling you, donate, give us 16,000 shillings and we'll give you this, and they disappear with your money. If we teach people how to bounce back, but how do we teach them? Now we can teach them from today. The internal resilience is, who are you? What does your personality do? So now when it comes to depression, depression is a persistent form of lowness, feeling low. So a lot of people in this era talk about, I feel depressed. Why are you calling onto something that you never ever want to have? I'm just feeling low. Today I'm in low spirits, it's fine. But when you find it now persistent.
Medically speaking, what is that period?
So now it depends on the personality of the person and the season. For example, we used to do acute, short term, like we want to say chronic depression would be after 3 years.
That's chronic.
Yes, and then we're also looking at how chronic is it. But Dr. For example, if we meet somebody who is severely depressed now and it's just an acute buried somebody they cared about, or actually went into a very poor, very terrible, abusive relationship, those ones can jump that cut. So for me, from experiential, I tell people there is no cut off for what is acute and solvable and what it could be chronic, because acute attacks are the ones that are more dangerous. Do you know, Dr. we are taught psychological first aid? Remember that the way we used to do basic life support, there is psychological first aid, because an acute trauma can find a wound that is already there and push you from depression, mild depression, straight to suicide.
It's like many things acting acutely together.
And sometimes it may even be just one huge thing. For example, let me give you an example of some of the clients I've passed through. Loss of a parent. There are some of them where that is so acute, especially girls with their fathers. That is so acute. In fact, sometimes when I say that, I can literally hear girls cringing that their dad is gone. But it's such an acute trauma that people moved quickly from mild depression, quick to suicide tendencies over the span of 2 to 3 months. So what I tell people is, when you feel, siezi toka, because that's the thing, siezi toka kwa hii. Ati doc nimejaribu. If you have that one, doc, I've tried, I can't get out of this mood, please seek for help. So that's how we'll look at depression.
Before you talk how and what people can do,
yes,
how dark is that darkness?
My dear, let me tell you, it's very dark. My best friend, I lost my best friend, she was a victim of suicide. And it's dark. It's literally the person is in a hole of aloneness with nobody in their view, like in their perspective. They have no one, it's just them, and it feels okay. And some people will even tell you they hear something telling them to take their life. But it's a walk that it takes them through, that depression takes them. They start from hopelessness, helplessness, then the things they like. So when you start having what we call anhedonia, which means the things you enjoy doing, you stop. We start telling you you're getting into mild depression, heading to moderate. Then now the hopelessness, feeling of desperation. No one cares about me. Nothing is for me. I don't think, somebody tells you, oh, you're good at this, and it's like, no, they're not talking to me. Then we start saying that's the darkness. Now you're getting into deeper into that. And then they start telling you, I hear a voice telling me to cut myself. I hear a voice telling me to just end it. People will not miss you when you're here. So if there's anybody who's listening to the sound of my voice, who's feeling that way, even as simple of you're with a loved one, for example, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and you're looking at them and saying, I don't think I deserve these people, that is not a very good sign. That's how dark it gets. And now cutting is back in high school, and more in high school. Because like I said, right now, maybe in my era, a librarian was a good profession, but AI is going to erase about 3,000 jobs now. They're talking about 7 million by 2027. So can you imagine?
7 million jobs
will be out with the AI. Yeah. So can you imagine a child who is feeling they need to do something different, and then they have a parent who has a different idea? That discord, what we call cognitive dissonance, it's already in dissonance on its own. What my parents want and what I want is very different. What society maybe expects from me and what I is very different. So it gets that dark. You start cutting yourself. And why do they cut themselves, Daktari? To feel something. Can I say something quickly on that one too? Women who are sexually doing sexual prowess, having many sexual partners, even if it's serial dating, or men who are cheating, also that is so that they can feel something. So now in my area of awareness and understanding this topic of mental health, I don't look at a cheating man just as a disrespectful man. I want to ask questions, because maybe he's numb and now he's looking for ways to feel. And Daktari, I'm giving you an example of how dark it can be. Because somebody out there would be like, if your man wants to cheat, he'll cheat. It's okay, that's how you feel. But professional experience tells me they are numb, so they are looking for something to do. So high school students will also do the same. Pornography is another thing we are seeing for people who are numb and now want to escape. I don't feel wanted, I don't feel excited about anything in life. Those are telltale signs of depression, and it gets that dark. The worst extreme now you're talking about now, psychopathic behaviors, is you see people killing animals. Usually when you see somebody who is, wachana na kuku, waluya wasinitafute, but animals, kuku ni tofauti, it's a delicacy, must be eaten, right? But I'm talking about animals, cats, dogs. Somebody feels the need to just kill those animals for no particular reason. We have to, again, analyze. You're numb and you're trying to feel something. That is what I would say about that depression. And don't take it lightly. Daktari, this is why we're doing this today. Don't take it lightly. Don't let even the people who are, remember, the people around you are not professionals. The group at home, and even now, like I tell you, well-equipped nurses, well-equipped clinical officers, well-equipped community health workers who have done understanding of psychology and counseling will tell you those are the things they need to do. So we want to encourage people to go to any of the nearest facilities were they to hear us in a rural setting. Yes, sir.
Sure. In brief,
yes, sir.
Talk to us about mental health issues at workplaces, because this is something that it's rising.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is happening at our workplaces?
So I'm actually involved in a lot with that. So now that's part of my forte, because I do on toxicity at work and workplace challenges. In that, what is happening is that as the expectations of triple bottom line are coming, so are the expectations of companies within. So what happens is that people then who have missed out on the things they should get at home are coming to the office to get them. There's a song that says, if you're looking for love, look for it at home. People are looking for love and concern, compassion and care in the office. And this is where I tell people the reason why there's toxicity, there are many, but number one, personality mismatch and misunderstanding. I don't understand how you do, your personality will do group work, you don't understand mine, how can we override that? So I do the psychometric analysis for that to help people do good collaborative teamwork. Number two, you don't get friends from work. Work environment, they are called colleagues.
Colleagues.
If you're seated in your home where you're listening to me, repeat after me, colleagues.
It's not a family.
Not a family, not friends. There you're supposed to go there and find work. Then people will be like, yeah, you know, my husband, because I talk to a lot of women, my husband is within the work environment. That's not true. You want him to be. You want him to be. Because let me say this, we are looking for love, affection, and attention away from home because we are not getting it for very many reasons. Haven't you had work husband?
Yeah, I've heard something like that.
Work husband, work wife is a very real thing. Where you and I, HFC, we are now friends, we are here, we are working, and then you are the one listening to me with my problems. Emotional cheating is something women do primarily, and they think it's not cheating. It's disrespectful to the person you call your man in the house. Men consider this is what is it called, emotional infidelity as disrespect, and men don't like to be disrespected. Women also don't like what men do. Okay, so again, you can see how we are, there's nobody throwing stones from each other. But at work, it's triple bottom line. At work, your colleagues, so that you can make the money you need to get to help communities. Because the reason I've also found is the toxicity in it is that you think that the company is doing so great that you don't want to do anything. It's not your company. That's selfishness. I have always said this, and it's a tried, proven fact. Anything you disregard that is not yours, there's no day you'll get your own. And even if you do, you'll fail in it. That's why a lot of people who fail in private business, when they come to me, the first thing I ask them, how are you at work?
Time is not on our side. Please wrap it up. This is a very wide discussion again. But
yeah. But at least it falls into the ear of the person who perhaps is just looking for something to explain how they feel. Today morning, I was really tackling on something about people coming to work and how bad they feel. One of the things I'll say, get to know who you really are. It's not a hard thing. It doesn't mean that you overhaul. For some people, it will mean you overhaul. But as you're listening to this, depression, anybody who is threatening to have suicide, please, people, I will talk to the people online. People, if anybody is talking online and they sound depressed, they sound bipolar, stop those negative comments. I have also talked against, there was somebody who, one of my very good clients, very passionate client, send me the messages that these people who collect debt, you know, you can borrow, those debt, the people who can loan you. No, you say online, on the phone you can borrow something from mobile, thank you so much. But then when they come to collecting the debt, the messages they're sending people are causing them to be traumatized. And I even suggested, and here is my suggestion, if you, for example, you have to send 90 messages, why don't you just send the name of the person, the amount, and the pay bill number, whatever it is that you put, other than the many messages. So again, that's my overall cloud. Know who you are, stop harassing people, both online and in lenders, and let us bring back Ubuntu, Ujamii. I am because we are. That will really help us identify things. And ladies, you rise as a mother. So you rise for compassion, not for you to be the same as men. Let men deal with their testosterone. It's aggressive, it's a fighter. Estrogen, oxytocin is a loving hormone. And I conclude, Daktari.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I think this needs another session because I think we've not finished everything. We can't really finish everything in one sitting.
Yes, sir.
Where can people find you for mental health related issues, counseling and support?
So I'm found at MediHub Healthcare, which is along Valley Road. So before the roundabout of Silver Springs, that AEA Plaza, second floor, Wing B. And the number will be shared, but it's 0773 801 561. So you call and book an appointment for me. But we have counselors on board. So if you want to see me directly, mine is on appointment. But we do walk-in counseling. Call the number 0773 801